welcome to the Redvee TV preview show, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2020 season, as we look ahead to St Helens' round 11 clash against the Huddersfield Giants at Headingley Stadium this Friday evening. And this week, we've got something special. We've got double trouble.
Hello, David.
Hi KP. Hi Kev.
Hi mate, okay? How are we doing, Kev?
Good. How are you, Kev?
Yeah, good, thanks. Excited, 5-day turnaround, 2 Saints games within a 6-day period. Monday was a bit of a washout after a big day on Sunday, so it's almost like there's only 4 days before we play again.
A busy bank holiday then, Kevin.
It was a busy bank holiday Sunday. I didn't really get out of bed on Monday, to be honest. But
good lad.
You teach sometimes, don't you, Kev?
Say again, mate.
You teach sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, but every couple of weeks, and I get a few weeks off.
Life for teachers, eh? Must be shocked having to go do some work for a change.
Yeah, I've had 5 months off. I'm a bit of a shock to the system. You can tell my eyes. I've got bags under my eyes.
I will just lay out a formal apology to any teaching friends that I may have. Sorry, Mrs.
You've not got them anymore.
Okay then, right. Huddersfield this Friday evening. Huddersfield have been going really well since the lockdown, really, haven't they? I know they didn't do too well this week, but yeah, generally a decent side. Anyone?
Yeah, they are. You know, I mean, they took last time we played them. They obviously did a job on us, and they lost a halfback during that game. So they certainly shouldn't be underestimated. I know they've named a 21-man squad. Apparently 16 of which are actually fit. They've named Caesar Lawrence, Jake Wardle, McIntosh and Edwards, who are all carrying knocks and will be assessed in the week. So it sounds like they're doing it a little bit tough at the minute as well. But as we said about Hull KR last week, free hit. Absolutely nothing to lose if they go in playing a couple of youngsters.
Yeah, Kev, how do you see it going?
I think Sunday brought us down to earth a little bit, if I'm honest. Obviously, watched every minute of the preview show, like I always do. And
right, it on.
Well, you're 46-0. You forced me into doing a 41-45 winning margin, so you owe me a £5, but we'll talk about that off air. But I did have Walmsley first try at 16-1, so that's £85 in the bank. But yeah, I think I said to you both, kind of off air and over text a couple of weeks ago, I watched the Huddersfield game again. I'm running a lot and I'm watching lots of rugby on the iPad. And with having Saints TV, I watched the Huddersfield game again. And it's tough watching, really, because we had it was a very similar situation we find ourselves in now. We had a few missing. Coote didn't play. I think Percy missed that game as well. We looked a little bit disjointed. We didn't quite get our own way, rightfully so, because Huddersfield Pat want to bring it. And until seeing the Huddersfield team news and seeing how Sunday went, I'll be honest, I wasn't as confident as maybe I probably am now. I see Saints coming out on top. I see us getting a response, I think, now that the coaching staff are back in and we're doing things a little bit more kind of naturally and in a normal way. But yeah, I think Caesar, Gaskell, Wardle are probably the three of their squad, their starting 13 that are very dangerous and very striking. I think if they don't play, it could turn into a bit of a comfortable victory for us. Now
we'll get on to our squad. Hopefully that's popped up for you. A few missing ourselves. I know Kev got onto the fact, or KP got onto the fact that James Roby went off late in the win at the weekend, and obviously with the head knock, obviously with the 7-day short turnaround, he's failed the head check, so he's missing this week. He obviously hasn't referred back to his start of the season testing, as I said. So there's chances for some of the youngsters to come in.
Yeah, definitely. That's it. Roby and Zeb Tyre miss out. Josh Eves and Joe Batchelor come in. It's going to be interesting to see what he runs with. I know we had a little chat by text as well earlier in the day, because you look at the injury picked up by Theo Fage, and there's a decision to be made there as well. Do you risk Theo playing and potentially aggravating an injury similar to Mark Percival with his hamstring, where we rested him for a week, then put him back in, and it's obviously meant that Percy's out for a little bit longer than he potentially should be. Interested to hear what Kev would do with that while he's a different voice on here.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see that Josh Eaves is named in the squad. I think that might just be a bit more experience for him. I think the immediate response about Theo was people seeing him at a petrol station putting fuel in his car, and he said he was fine and it was more precaution. But for me, personally, I don't know whether I'd risk him. If Caesar plays, that's some challenge for Lewis Dodd to come in for his first start in the first team. It's almost like, right, Theo, right, Lewis, one of you's going to start. Let's just see if we can get a bit of a sniff on what Huddersfield starting seven's going to be. And if we find out Caesar's not playing, would I stick Lewis in? Yeah, probably would. And I think he's a shoo-in to play against OKR the next time round as well, because I think that's going to be a game we'll try to manage well. It's at our own stadium, I believe, and we play Warrington, obviously, 7 or 8 days after that in a quarter-final in a competition we're all desperate to win. So if Theo's right, and do you know what? The thing with Saints is they don't do it the wrong way. They won't risk players unnecessarily. So when you see the squad come through, which bizarrely, they're coming through like an hour and a half before kick-off now, where it only used to be an hour, didn't it? But when you see that come through...
when you've got a good media manager.
Yeah. When they come through, you kind of know.
I'll get a text off Mike Appleton now. The ex-media manager. I'm not saying anything bad about Mike at all. No, we've been blessed with good media managers at this club.
Yeah, you kind of know when the team comes through, it's the right squad, and the likes of Percy being left out when he got left out, and the likes of Coote not being ready when we thought he might be ready, and the decisions they're making are right for the team, not just now, but in the long run. And that's vindicated when you watch Wolf's interview. He's done another one today, actually. There's Kristian Woolf all over the place at the minute, but his 10-minute one yesterday on Saints TV, where he talked about Morgan Knowles just being a little bit off and a little bit underdone, whatever that means. And he gave him the week off and says he's fit, he's right, he's raring to go. And
did you see the post-match interview? I don't know whether it was James Bentley with Sky. And when they said about the coaching staff isolating, he turned around and said a couple of the players had isolated as well.
Right, okay.
So obviously we don't know any names on that one, but it's just an interesting bit. Do you know what? I think what's improved in the club is there's less leaks than there used to be. The club used to leak like an absolute sieve. And there's far less than there used to be. Now, question I've got for you then. With that 21-man squad, does it allow you to put a Theo Fage in that squad, even if he was injured? Because you've got that extra space. Because we haven't got that many more fit players on after that anyway. You can potentially just stick someone in there as an afterthought, can't you? Just to put a little bit of doubt in the opposition's mind, even if there's no intent on playing them. I think we've probably had that a little bit earlier in the season when we were getting told players were fit and they were in the 21, but we knew it came out later that they still weren't.
Yeah, I think it does. To be fair, you can afford to name someone. I mean, you can afford to change it as well, because if they get the right documentation, you don't lose your interchange. Has that been scrapped anyway?
Scrapped for the rest of this season because of COVID.
But not only that,
all you need to do, Kev, is say the night before somebody's got a cough.
Yeah, well,
not that anybody would play the system that way. I'm sure there's no team in Super League that would be so devious.
Well that's it. You can name Fage in there, and you've got cover at half-back anyway, because you've got, obviously, Lewis Dodd who can come in. You've got Jack Wellsby who can play there. And again, on text, Kev alluded to Kristian Woolf saying that Lachlan Coote could slip into the half-back role. It'd be a strange one, I think, if they move Coote up to like 6 or 7 and swapped it round that much. I think personally I'd like to see Wellsby playing his proper position at half-back if they did have to do that during a game. If they did start with Theo and unfortunately something happened akin to Mark Percival, I think I'd rather see somebody come off the wing and slot in there who's played there before, and leave Coots at fullback and let him just kind of jump in whenever he's needed for his kicking game. But yeah, you can definitely put players in there and kind of, I don't know, what was the famous Alex Ferguson quote about the pasta and the sauce? You check underneath to see that it was what they were saying it was. It's definitely a case you can do that these days with the squad.
Dead famous that quote, Kev. But yeah, there's options there, isn't he? You look at the like of Jack Wellsby. He could play in the halves. He could go into fullback and allow Coots to move in there. You can put Josh Sim in at centre, where you may not want such a young combination out wide. So you might put Nagama on the wing and Sim inside him.
I don't want to see too many.
So many young players you can play in multiple positions.
I don't want to see too many changes, though.
Yeah, so I agree, Kevin. And it was when I watched that interview and he said that about Coot going into the half. So I rewound and I thought, I've heard that wrong. And I went back 30 seconds and he says, and we've always got the option. Because he talked about Dodd as an immediate replacement. And then I'm straight away thinking he's going to talk about Wellsby. And he doesn't. He talks about Coot. And for me, that makes me think. You look at the website and it says he's a halfback. Jack Wellsby, a halfback who can play fullback. He's played halfback in his junior days. He's played fullback in his junior days. Obviously, he's played most, if not all, of his appearances for us at fullback, the odd one or two on the wing. But I'll take you back to a comment James Roby made in his when he was on Sky Sports Vodcast for his 500th appearance. And I don't know if you've seen this, but they talked about the strangest thing that's ever happened in his career. And they talked about when Ian Millward. When Ian Millward played him and somebody else out of the academy on the wing in a kind of playoff game against Wigan at Knowsley Road, and if you look at Jack Wellsby's performance on Sunday, the 2 tries he scored, and I'm not this is no disservice, but the 2 tries he scored, one of them was pretty much a walk-in, the other one he had a bit of work to do. But I think there are players in that squad that when Lomax and Roby are going to put you in a space like that with the absolute perfect flat pass, it's not. He didn't have to do a Tommy Makinson. He didn't score a Regan Grace type hat trick. He did the job that he had to do. But basically, both those tries. I know they needed a bit of work doing. So if you do need to bring Wellsby inside, who's going to go out onto the wing? It's the Adam Swift effect, and I think you alluded to it last year when we'd announced Swift was going to go to Hull, and I think everybody thought the same thing. We've not needed him for nearly a season and a half, and he goes out and Makinson's banned and Makinson was injured at the start, and it's turned out to be probably not one of the wisest decisions for us as a club, but probably the best thing for the player.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we did say that. I mean, obviously, we looked at it on at the weekend when Farge went off, and there could have been a massive change where we switched it all around, put Costello on the wing, Bentley into centre.
Yeah.
You could add Wellsby into the halves, but I quite like the fact that we stuck with like one change, as we just alluded to. You don't want to be seeing players kind of just shoehorned. And I know Jack Wellsby is getting game time, I'd say this is, rather than, it's not quality game time in his preferred or his best role. It's game time and just getting experience on the pitch. And you know what? He'd probably be better for it because his all-round game will come on because he'll kind of understand the winger's role now. He's played at centre, he's played in the halves, he's played at full-back. It should all be good for him.
Yeah,
I like Kev. I spent 5 minutes to basically say that me or KP could play on the wing.
I'm not saying that because it's a discredit to the work Wellsby did, and not just scoring those tries. I think Kristian Woolf said in his post-match interview the yardage work he did. You can't compare any winger in the league to the yardage work Tommy Makinson does. You just can't. And
I thought he had a decent game.
He did.
KP's just said then as well. It shows that Kristian Woolf has probably evolved since he's got here and realised that you can't be moving players around like chess pieces in a game, like 4 or 5 changes. It's easier to just go for like for like or one change and you get the desired result on the back of that. And it shows that the coaches obviously learning all the time as well.
Yeah. And to add to that, when you talk about not too many disruptions, and Kev's right, we've done it before where we've made too many changes and it's not paid off. With Roby going in at 7, I'm sorry to swear, but Sam Tompkins on this week's podcast alludes to that was his moment of the week, to say that a guy who's played 25 years at 9, and someone, apparently, I didn't see this, but someone said to him, you're going in the halves, and Roby's gone back, I'm in the halves. And then just gone into the halves, and then the next minute he's throwing passes just similar to what Johnny Lomax threw in the first half, putting Jack Wellesby through a gap on the wing. So that was Tompkins' moment of the week. But you're right, you don't want to cause too many disruptions, and I think after this week, I think we'll start to see some of that rotation into the next Hull KR game, ready for the Warrington quarter-final. Okay,
last quick question then, before we move on to the Huddersfield squad. Obviously, Aaron Smith will start at hooker this week. Who spells him? Does he play 80 minutes? Does he get spelled? Do you use maybe James Bentley there? Do you use Josh Eaves? What do you think the options will be, or what we'll go for?
Go on, Kev. I've got my opinion, but I'll listen to yours.
I'd prefer to see Josh Eaves spell him. I don't want to see Morgan Knowles near 9 if he can help it. I don't want to see James Bentley near 9 if he can help it. I'd rather players play. And again, I get that Jack Wellesby isn't playing in his correct position, but I want to see players play in the spots. I can almost see him, if Fage plays, I can almost see Dodd being on the bench and potentially having a little swap there if Fage is fit enough going into 9. And bringing Dodd on. Depends how the game's going, obviously. But there's another option. So I'd prefer to see if we're going to have a bench hooker Eaves, but I am really interested to see Lewis Dodd get some game time.
I mean, Smith got through about 50 minutes, didn't he, on Sunday? It was about the half-hour mark, Teo got his knock.
Yeah, something like that.
What's to say as I can't do a full 80? Because, do you know what, I was really impressed with him. I thought he had a really good game. I thought his defence was strong. His try was really well took. And I think you mentioned it in the instant fan reaction about that's what we want to see him do. And it's the kind of stuff James Roby burst onto the scene with. So for me, I wouldn't be that nervous of him having to get through the 80 minutes, especially if Roby's going to be all right next week. And then Roby might have to do a big stint in a week or two's time. But it's going to be Josh Eaves or Lewis Dodd on the bench, isn't it? I think as that 17th man. I think that's a given. Which one it is, you'd think if Lewis Dodd's been the 18th man for a couple of weeks, it's going to be him. And if then Teo does get a knock or as it does need spelling and Teo's right, he can move. And again, like you said, Kev, it's less disruption, and I think that's what we want. So,
right, here we go. Huddersfield Giants crying it in already. Listing of injuries. Tell you what, it's a big injury list when you look at it.
It is.
Aidan Caesar, obviously doubtful with his hamstring. Kenny Edwards is also doubtful. Jake Wardle, doubtful. But yeah, big injury list. So if we go and look at their squad, Reece Butterworth sounds like a lovely sweet. That's just come to me. Reese's Butterworths.
Isn't it interesting how no one wants to sponsor Joe Wardle? I wonder why that is. Number 12.
Well, has Kenny Edwards got a sponsor?
Where's Kenny Edwards? I don't think he's in there, is he?
Number 11, Kenny Edwards. It's funny that they haven't actually said what's wrong with Kenny Edwards. Maybe a repetitive strain injury from throwing the ball.
It was on that. Yeah, it was on that previous thing. He was there. Doubtful assessment ongoing this week. Oh yeah, it doesn't say what's up with him.
No.
Yeah, you'd think if some of those big players, I think Lee Gaskell's been when they were ticking, it was him kind of and Caesar getting the work done, wasn't it? I think them two are a good quality 6-7 combination, and I think even if Caesar makes it, who's going to play outside him at 6? It's not Lee Gaskell. Therefore, that gives me confidence that Johnny Lomax is going to have that freedom, if you like. Because I think Gaskell did do a job on Johnny Lomax last time we played him.
He did, yeah.
It'll give Johnny a little bit more freedom to maybe just have that extra second, that little bit more time to pull the strings and get back to doing what Johnny Lomax does really well and running games and controlling games, especially if Teo doesn't play.
Yeah, I just hope that we don't fall into a trap. Like the game that obviously, unfortunately, sticks in our mind is the cup final, where Warrington played a pretty simple game to really good effect and nullified us. And if Huddersfield have got anything about them with so many injuries, that's what they'll practice for this week. How do you nullify Saints? And have a look at that video and just go, right, let's make them bring it out. Yeah, we can go now 100 metres and score a try. I remember the days when we couldn't, but we've got the players to do that. But they've just got to play to the strengths and kind of look at ways of even throwing it about. I was impressed with Hull KR more than I thought I would be. And once they started getting a roll on and started putting us under pressure, we were architects of our own problems. But if they can put the pressure on, you are going to start making mistakes if you start trying to throw the ball about kind of dumbly, really.
To add to that, Kev, you're right, because they will kick it into touch whenever they can, and they will try and slow us down as much as they can. One thing I think was a bit of a leveller on Sunday, I didn't think Scott Mickey Mouse Galisco, whatever his name is, did a very good job of the six again. I think there were countless times where if you look, I watch NRL intently and I've watched nearly all of that, and you look at the speed of the ruck in all of those games, and you look at that game on Sunday and it's frightening. The difference, even not just that game, the game when Warrington played Wakefield, the speed of the ruck was much quicker, and that must have been commented on. And I actually looked when you texted earlier asking did I want to come on. I was thinking about referee appointments because I'd seen that. I think we've got Liam Moore this week, haven't we?
Yeah.
And I looked to see if Scott, I can't pronounce it, Mickey Mouse, I call him. Yeah, if he's got a game this week, and he had, but it was the Wakefield Leeds game, which has now been postponed. But interestingly, he's one of our touch judges. But I don't think he did a very good job of enforcing the new rule, because I thought they did a really good job of slowing us down at the play of the ball. And I'll add to that, in case any OKR fans watching are going to give me some stick, which is fine. I also didn't think we were that sharp at the play of the ball. I thought there were times where we looked a bit tired and we didn't look like we wanted to, really get our roll on. So I just thought that I think that when we played Leeds, the fact that our ruck speed was immense. I hope we can get back to somewhere near that level. And if teams are trying to purposely slow us down, there's a reason we've not lost since we've come back, and it's because we're fit. We've got a really good conditioning team, and the squad are ready and right. And I just hope that we don't start to see referees not penalising teams for the slowing down that. I think
you're always going to get refs interpreting it differently.
Yeah, of course.
That's the issue. So you're going to get games where they are a bit slower, where they don't give it. Listen, you've got to play to play to whatever they're doing. Take the referee out of the game and just try and put your own stamp on it. I'm not going to whinge too much about refs. I've been there and been told off for it.
Last one on Huddersfield then. Do you think there's a potential that they might just throw Owen Trout in there and just see if he sinks or swims?
Oh, how long got that one lined up?
About 5 minutes. I was listening to you talking.
It's like pulling teeth, Kevin. It.
I've got to put up with this every week.
I don't stink of fish.
Shocking. Move on. Next discussion point.
There's not a lot happened this week. Obviously, COVID struck once again. And I seen a really good tweet from Aaron Bauer, the Guardian journalist earlier, and basically said, this season's got one priority, just finish it. No matter how, we need to finish it and ensure that we get the TV money, essentially, to make sure the game survives. It's not going to be easy. I've seen some fans on some of the rugby league sites on Facebook saying, just cancel the year, but you can't do that. You just got to plough on, and I'm doing a good job of it so far.
Yeah, you're right. We've just got to get our commercial obligations sorted. Challenge Cup, Super League, get it done. Listen, we've had to, and I know we're going back to wartime years, but we've had seasons where teams haven't played the same amount of games. It's just put up with it. I don't mind if we end up as champions with an asterisk next to us. I don't mind at all. Just get the season done, ensure the future of the game. That is the main thing.
I could potentially see a point later in the year, if it's coming to like last 3 or 4 games and there's say a Wakefield Hull KR game and they're both out of contention and they can't make the top 4 and it gets called off because of COVID and there's no fans been allowed in, that the game potentially, as you say, just gets scrapped because it's not needed to affect the outcome of the season, especially with no relegation in play either.
Yeah, you can. It might come down to the fact that if teams are completely out of it, that you're going to get games called off. It might not quite work like that, and it might be that a Leeds Warrington game, or I don't know, whoever trying to get into the top 4, they might not be able to because we're getting towards the end of the year, or the planned rugby league year, and you just can't fit the games in, or you're playing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday every week. It'll be interesting to see how they fit them in. I do think that we should have probably played games on the cup weekend.
That could come though, Kev, couldn't it? Because there's only 8 teams playing now on that 19th.
Like the last one,
Yeah.
There could have been a decent round of games that even if we just get half a round in or 3/4 of a round in, whatever, it might have just worked. Or even, I mean, it doesn't really work with regards to your contractual obligations. But it's a shame they can't double up the points given, and whoever wins the Challenge Cup game gets the points as well. Yeah. It'd be something to think about if this is still a problem going into the next season.
Yeah, you look at Catalan and Stevie from Sky on that podcast. Ask Sam Tompkins that question. Like you're already 2 behind. You're missing Monday night. You're going to be 3 behind. Yeah, you're in contention, but does the amount of games in a short space of time put you out of contention? And Tompkins was like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It probably does because they're going to be backing up like double games for 2, 3, 4 weeks within a 6-week period. So that probably will tell.
Yeah, I don't think you're never going to get a player who's going to say that, are you? But
no, you're not. You're not. But I think.
Anything else to discuss this week?
Midnight kickoff.
Not going to happen. Yeah, that's just Chris Radlinski blowing off steam, isn't it? It's not going to happen. I would suggest, given some of Greater Manchester's gone back into lockdown again today, Wigan will be very lucky to get any crowds in their stadium in October because I just can't see it. But we will wait and see. Anything else?
Really interesting to see that one of our Super League rivals has had to have 6 players isolate this week. But I mean, he still put out a pretty strong squad because it's quite easy when you've got 57 players signed on a 2.1 million salary cap, isn't it?
Oh, Kev, they'll be having meetings of you again.
Yeah,
it's okay.
They're the words of
They're
Kev.
living on that. Do you know what? They're living on that as much as fans live on. Who's the lads off the Gerrard who, when we had KC and they were saying, "Oops, sorry," but there's a meme that's always gone round of that.
It's one of my proudest moments, Dave. It's on the bottom of my CV as an additional achievement.
Yeah, there we go. Right, I think we are done for this week. Otherwise, people will stop watching by now. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you share it on the websites for us if you can. And we will catch you on Friday evening, early evening.
Yeah.
We kick off at 6 for an instant fan reaction. Kev, KP, if you're about, we'll have you both back on Friday night. Oh, predictions, quickly. Score. KP.
Saints by 28.
Kev.
36-12. Saints by 24.
Okay, I'll go for 46-0. Right. Catch you later. See you later, everyone.
I'm not getting the guitar out if that's right. You've no chance.
If I do it enough, it'll come right once in my life. All right. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on Friday night. See you later.
See ya.